Hi, my name's Dawn Meader and I'd like to show you a very simple pastel technique using a limited palette, and I think even if you haven't done any drawing you should be able to have a go at this one. So we're going to be using just a limited palette means just a small part of the colour wheel, so we're just using this part of the colour wheel here and then we're moving on to one other colour. I'm using one colour to start with, just blue, and we're using a mid-tone and a darker tone, and that's going to be the majority of the drawing. And this is how you draw a very simple scene of a boat in the morning. So I'm starting off with my mid-tone and I'm using the flat of the pastel and just putting it, just blocking in the colour. And I've got a rag here, I'm going to rub it in. And layer it up again one more time. Just to build it up a bit more. So these are chalk pastels, not oil pastels. You can't layer up oil pastels in the same way. So this is my ground. So often with pastels we start with coloured paper, but the thing I like about this technique is you can rub back to the white. Okay, so, and now I'm going to put the horizon line in. And now I'm going to put in the boat. So when you want to do the boat, you can just do it this way. Just draw a very slight curve, like that. And then for the front of the boat you can bring it in a bit more than the back. And then you can draw it flat where the waterline is. When you're doing reflections, it's as above, so below, just like a mirror. So you want this part of the boat here to jut out just exactly the same, so you've got that kind of shape. And then do the same, drop a very fine line down there. And then I'm going to echo that smile the other way down. Okay. And now I just get the side of the pastel in again and block it in. At this stage we're just blocking in the main shapes, like that. This pastel we're going for a very soft feel, so a lot of it's rubbing in, but not all pastels rubbing in like that. You have to be careful you don't rub everything in. And now I thought I'd put some mountains in the background. So same thing, we're just going for a soft kind of early morning light. I have another mountain in the background there. I think I'll make this foreground one a bit bigger. I'm going to rub that in as well. Sometimes I want that really sitting right back in the clouds. Sometimes you'll get reflections in the mountains and sometimes you won't. So for the sake of simplicity, seeing as this could be your first drawing, we won't put reflection in. And what happens is that as the foreground comes towards you, it tends to get darker. So we're going to put more shading there to build that up. And as above, so below. So in the water, whatever is down here, you want to have it up here. So there's going to be a bit more shading up the top of the sky. When you're drawing, it's good to be aware of where your main light source is coming from. So let's say it's coming from this way here. And it's good in drawing, rather than have the light kind of all even all the way as it is in real life, just darken up one side a bit more than the other. Oh, I better put you in the boat. There you are. So because that's a reflection, we want to bring it down that way as well, okay? Right, so now I'm just going to start introducing this other colour, this one here, the darkest tone. When you're doing a reflection on the boat, if you imagine that the underside of the boat, that's going under, just as if you were drawing a teacup or something. So it's going to be a darker underneath. When you look at shadows, often the reflection is just that little bit darker. I'll bring it up to, and all the way through this drawing I'm going to keep coming back and do some more layers. Pastels are all about building up. You're very small there, I think I have to make you bigger. The reflection can be a bit more blurry. Right, so I'll just rub that in slightly. And then I'll put that line back in there. Right, so for the mountains that are closest, they're going to be, I'm just drawing with the side of the pastel again. Mountains that are closest are going to be the darkest, so maybe we can put some mountains in there that are a bit more in the foreground. Rub those in. I just make it up as I go along. This isn't. That one I think I'll do. This mountain here, let's make this a bit. This mountain, have a sense of the mountain coming down here, like that. So we make that a bit darker. Maybe a bit more there. Right, and then let's darken up the sky a bit. And then remember, as above, so below. So if we're going to do it dark up there, I'm going to do it dark down here as well. Let's make it really dark there. This is like the lake that we paint on when we go on the Bali retreats, and we go out very early in the morning. It's kind of like these intense lights and darks like this. Not too worried if I get rid of the light, because I can come back in with an eraser later on. Alright, so the next part of the drawing, see I've just been using these colours, and remember we talked about going around to the next part of the colour wheel. So I've got a purple here which is right on the border there, and it's going to make it just that little bit darker and just warm it up slightly. I'll bring that up there. I'm going to put some of that in here. And up here, of course. If you look at Monet's paintings and some of the ones of the Houses of Parliament, if you look at those ones, he's got quite a few that he's done with a limited palette, except the one thing he'll do is he'll do mostly one side and he'll just put a dot of the other side in as well. Okay, right, and now I'm going to put in some pink, but this pink is very bright. It's going to be too bright, but I'm not too worried about that because afterwards I'll knock it back with a bit of violet. So when you're doing pastels, it's just like painting, except instead of mixing soft and cool pastel painting, let's make it a bit pinker this side and take it through there a bit. So because I've taken it through there, I'm going to take it there as well. Right? So I'm still like taking it through on the side, still just working on the side there. Take it right through there. Sometimes when people are drawing, I'll notice they'll go right up to the edge there and then stop, and then right up to the edge because they're so frightened of mucking up what they've already done. But don't worry, because you can just draw over it, and it's better to go over it than... See, I even did it myself. It's better to go over and then have these lines like that. Cool, that was it. Right, so now I'm going to bring in this one that I talked to you about. It's not too bad actually, it's a bit softer than I thought it was going to be. I'll bring that down, bring that in there. Rub that in, not too much, just rub it in a bit. I'm going to come in with the eraser in a minute. So we can come back with that boat and make it a bit more solid later on. I actually want to, no, I'm going to come in with the eraser. And this is, you can see it's all dirty. So I've just got to clean it off a bit. And then I want to draw back. I'm going to draw in with it. And you just have to keep cleaning it as you go. When you're drawing on the water, if you keep it, for this particular method anyway, for calm water, just keep this way, like this. But in the sky, you're dealing with the clouds, so you can put the movement in of the cloud like that. I want to make it like there's that, you know when you get the light just piercing through the sky a bit? If you're out drawing outside, everything moves all the time. So that's why I like methods like this, because you've got this really short time to get everything down. I better bring that down a bit. I want to bring the light down a bit here. So just keep cleaning the rubber. Someone say, don't say that, say eraser. Just keep bringing this. Okay, so, and now I think I'd like to just warm it up a little bit, and this is not, it's, you can see there. It is that dot that I was talking about before. It's this dot from the other side of the colour wheel. So I've got this really limited palette there with just a tiny bit. I'm just introducing this little bit here. It's a very misty morning. I'm going to bring a bit more dark into it. First light. I want to keep it quite loose, not too tight up there. Darken that right up there. And then this boat is kind of, we've lost a lot of the boat, so I'll just put you back in. Remember, just that little bit of darkness where the boat, it's the water, and now I better not reflect the, very hard to draw and talk at the same time. And I think, well, you get really dirty hands doing this, so when you go to smudge it in again, you can kind of undone what you've done. And I think we'll leave that one, oh, I think I've got one more thing. When you've got this kind of light in here, if I draw that on, if I just want to make a few intense areas there, it's that morning kind of gilded light on the water. You're going to get very tiny, tiny bits of that light picking up on the boat there, and maybe on your face a tiny bit, and then hardly anything there. If you put too much in there, what happens is you'll get too much reflection. Okay, I hope that helps you, and if you've got any questions, please email me. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.